LG is trying to make a big comeback in the mainstream smartphone space with its new W series. So far, it's launched 3 phones, W10, the W30 and the W30 Pro, of which just the first 2 have actually gone on sale. We'll be focusing on the W30 today, which nearly at 10,000 rupees has some tough competition in the form of the Redmi Note 7S, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 and even the Realme U1, which is now under 10,000 thanks to online offers. Now, the LG W30 boasts of some pretty interesting features. You get 3 cameras at the back, you get a massive battery and a notch display. But is this enough to take on the competition? Let's find out. Now before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you know when we have a new video. LG has given the W30 a premium look. The chrome-plated sides and a brushed aluminium pattern for the back look striking in this platinum grey color. If you really want to make a statement though, then the Thunder Blue or the Aurora Green colors might be a better choice. The front glass and the side frames have rounded corners, which makes the W30 very comfortable to hold. It's not too heavy at 172 grams, but it is on the thicker side at 8.5 millimeters. The phone feels well put together and the plastics used here seem to be of high quality. We didn't notice any scuff marks or scratches on the laminated back during our review period, which is good. However, the resolution is only HD+, so images and text are missing a certain degree of sharpness. The LG W30 has a hybrid SIM slot on the left which supports dual 4G nano SIM cards with VoLTE and VILTE support. Now the downside is that you will have to sacrifice a second SIM for a micro SD card, which you'll probably need in the long run since the W30 only comes with 32 GB of internal storage. There's also no USB Type-C port here, which is something we expected at this price. The phone has a notched display with thick bezels on all sides, especially the bottom chin. LG has also squeezed in a notification LED in the upper bezel near the notch, which many people will appreciate. Through software, you can change the look of the notch from the default style to a dewdrop notch or simply mask it altogether. Now, most apps automatically mask that area, so it doesn't really hamper visibility. However, YouTube videos in full screen mode fills the area around it too. At the back, you have the triple cameras aligned to the left and a large fingerprint sensor area in the middle. The latter works well to authenticate you, and you even get a little haptic feedback when you touch it, so you know you placed your finger correctly. LG offers face unlock too, but it's a little slow and it doesn't work at all in darkness. Now the W30 is powered by a MediaTek Helio P22 SoC, which is an entry-level chip found in phones such as Realme C2. We would have ideally preferred something more powerful at this price, such as maybe a Helio P60 or even a Helio P70, in order to make the phone a little more competitive. The W30 is only available in one combination, which is 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. The phone is only Wideband L3 certified, which means video on demand apps such as Netflix won't be able to stream content in HD or higher. For software, the W30 is running a near stock version of Android 9 Pie with the May 2019 security patch. It also retains the swipeable home button to switch between apps, just like on the Google Pixel phones. However, you can switch to the 3-button layout as well if you want. Google's digital well-being is also present, which is nice to see. LG has added a few finishing touches of its own, such as a panic button, which places a call to an emergency helpline if you press the power button thrice in quick successions. You can also take scrolling screenshots if needed, and the Settings app has a bunch of gestures and shortcuts which can be activated. Now with regular use, the W30 does a pretty decent job of running Android and basic apps. Swiping through home screens is quick and apps don't take forever to load thanks to the decent amount of RAM. However, there's no getting around the fact that this is a pretty weak SoC. And you are reminded of this intermittently with slight stutter and lag, which creeps in when you're trying to switch between landscape and portrait orientations in some apps and in some UI animations. Now, more demanding apps such as heavy games don't perform too well either. For instance, PUBG Mobile runs at the lowest graphics preset by default, and even here, gameplay feels a bit laggy with intermittent stutter when the action gets a bit heavy. On the other hand, simpler titles such as Alto's Odyssey run fine. The phone doesn't get too hot either, except for the top bezel, which tends to run a little warm when gaming. The LG W30 prides itself on having 3 cameras. There's a main 12-megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.0, a 13-megapixel wide-angle fixed-focus camera with an f2.2 aperture, and a 2-megapixel depth sensor. The main camera sensor uses Sony's IMX486 sensor, which is also seen in phones such as the Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Redmi Note 5 Pro. Sadly though, the autofocus system is quite sluggish as the sensor hunts for a good second every time it needs to lock focus. In daylight, image quality is decent, but objects at a distance in landscape shots lack good details, which is noticeable once you zoom in. Close-ups do fare a little better. There's also noticeable shutter lag when shooting even under good light, which means you and your subject must stay still for a second or two after hitting the shutter button in order to avoid motion blur. Switching between the wide angle and the main sensor is easy thanks to the dedicated button in the viewfinder. Wide-angle shots have lesser detail and visible noise. There's also noticeable barrel distortion on objects on the side of the frame. With bokeh mode, you can adjust the level of background blur before you've taken the shot, but this can't be changed later. Edge detection feels a little crude, and there are times when it fails to blur everything correctly when shooting people. Objects, on the other hand, do fare a little better. One issue we did notice is that the frame rate gets really choppy in this mode, which makes it a little challenging to frame your shot correctly. At night, the narrow aperture of both sensors makes it impossible to capture good details as images are generally quite dark. The phone's night mode does help a bit here as images look slightly brighter, but there's still visible noise and details are a bit weak. The good news is that night mode also works with a wide-angle lens. The 16-megapixel selfie camera captures passable selfies but has some trouble correctly exposing the image, leaving blown highlights even with HDR enabled. In low light, image quality is average at best. There's a beauty mode for the selfie camera as well, but this tends to aggressively smoothen skin tones. The W30 can shoot videos up to 1080p resolution, however there's no electronic stabilization for either of the sensors. Image quality isn't great as the bright areas in the footage are often overexposed. We had some trouble with continuous autofocus as well, which doesn't work all the time very well. Heavy use of the camera or even gaming doesn't take a huge toll on the battery, which is one of the strong suits of the W30. We managed to get nearly 23 hours and 21 minutes of runtime in our battery loop test, which is excellent. With normal usage, the W30 easily lasts for about a day and a half, if not more, on one charge. LG's W series is the company's latest attempt at capturing a piece of the budget market. However, it doesn't seem like the W30 is an aggressive enough move to shake Xiaomi or even Realme from the top spot. Its biggest shortcomings are the cameras and the weak SoC, which holds it back. Looking at the 10,000 rupees segment, you can find better options such as the Redmi Note 7S from Xiaomi, the Realme U1, or even the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2, all of which offer higher resolution displays, faster processors, and better cameras. Now, the LG W30 does have some redeeming qualities. It's pretty well built and looks great. Battery life is also superb, and the display also produces some pretty vivid colors, even though the resolution is a bit on the lower side. However, since it's only available through flash sales at the moment, it can be a little difficult to buy. We also think that you'll be better served with phones such as the Redmi Note 7S or even the Realme U1 at this price, which not only are better phones but are also easy to get hold of. So thanks for watching our review of the LG W30, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.